Yes, you alone, God. Say you alone. You alone. Say, God, you alone. You alone, Jesus.
Good morning, Omega Radio listeners. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. At this time, we have a proud sponsor coming before you. Yes, it is now time for Queen Bee Frequency here today with your host, Tikea Bowers. We invite you to stay locked and stay tuned in as we get ready to turn you over to your host for today's episode of Queen Bee Frequency. So don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial.
Queen, it's your girl Tikea. Welcome to Queen Bee Frequency on Omega Radio, your space for growth and becoming her. Tune in Wednesdays at 10 a.m., where energy shifts and queens rise.
Hey, Queen. Welcome to another episode of Queen Bee Frequency. What a week it's been, and it's only Wednesday. It's hump day. Just trying to make it through the rest of the week. But today we're going to talk about something that I know a lot of us want to talk about, but unfortunately, it's very challenging as women to actually open up and express ourselves and be honest about how we're feeling, especially in the moment, especially when things are really hard. And that's the things women feel but don't say out loud. And there are a lot of those things. Um, just the pressures that women carry on a day-to-day basis. A lot of us are moms. We have very challenging careers, and if you're not a mom, you're probably not married or married. And there are a lot of women out there that are very heavily independent and feel like they don't have a lot of support out there or people that understand what they're dealing with, so they keep a lot of things close to their chest, which is very, very challenging for us. Because what I've realized over the years is that when we hold on to things, things fester and it turns into resentment because we lack the ability to communicate our feelings. Because a lot of the times, especially being the strong one, people expect us to just be the strong individual, this individual who carries everything and or dismisses things and nothing bothers them, when in reality it's an act. And we're desperately asking for someone to just say, "Hey, how's your day been? What's going on with you? Is there anything I can help you with?" And we never really get that opportunity to feel loved and seen the way that we need to be. So, we're going to talk a bit about different ways we can express ourselves and be honest with the people around us and even be honest with ourselves, because sometimes we even lie to ourselves about how we feel and we don't call out what we're feeling. So therefore we sit in it for a very long time and it just becomes a very delusional state. So let's talk about it. A lot of us have feelings inside, such as, I love my people, but I need my space. So then we feel like we're being antisocial because we just need a little bit of space. We need to be able to hear ourselves. We don't want people to want from us. We don't want to have to do for everyone. We want the ability to just have a little self care, sit in silence with ourselves, journal, just have an opportunity to just decompress. And because of all the responsibilities that we have, because we may have children, because we might have a partner, and different life responsibilities that demand so much of our time, we neglect ourselves. So we start to feel like we're selfish and that we hate people. Like, I was talking to my best friend the other day and she was like, I hate people, but she didn't mean it in that way. I think what it is that she's starting to love her solitude. And that's such a beautiful thing, because for a very long time, and we talked about this in the friendship episode, I was so used to having all of my friends around all the time and always doing things with them, and then entering a different phase of my life where the responsibilities started building. I didn't really have that time to spend with my friends. And I started to understand that solitude is such a beautiful thing. Being able to get to know yourself, the things that you dislike, the things that you like, so that you're able to create a safe place for yourself is such a beautiful thing that a lot of us don't even get to have because of all the responsibilities that we have. And another thing is we're tired of being the strong one. You know, I remember going through years of misery because I lost both of my parents, and everyone would always say, "You're so strong. Wow, you're handling this so well." But if they only knew the amount of times that I would drive up, pull up to work, or pull up to an event and sit in my car and cry and just literally have a pep talk with myself and talk myself out of my feelings instead of allowing myself to feel those feelings and get them out. I literally would suppress my feelings and be like, girl, get over it. You've got this. You know, they're looking down on you. You're good. But that's not enough, because if we don't call out what we're feeling, then we sit in years and years and years and years of resentment, and we don't even know what we're mad at. We start lashing out on everyone around us, and there's no meaning to how we feel because we're not adding meaning to it. We're not being honest with ourselves. We're so used to hearing that we're resilient, when really and truly we're fighting silent battles that no one even knows that we're fighting. And then those feelings of feeling guilty because you want more. And this is so true. This is a real one, where a lot of us have great lives. We have, you know, all of the things. A lot of us are living in answered prayers that we prayed for so long and hard. And finally, we're receiving what we asked for and we're living in it. But we're almost afraid to admit that we still want more. And that's okay, because again, we talked about last week how life is a constant evolution. We're constantly evolving. We're not going to want the same things all of the time. And even when we get what we asked for, we still want to elevate it. We still want to make it better. We still want to add more things to our lives to make it comfortable. But at the same time, a lot of us don't know how to operate in the now, and we're so caught up in living in the past, or we're so caught up of living in the future, constantly thinking about the future, what I would do to have this, what would I do if, I was here, instead of enjoying an answered prayer that we prayed so long and hard for. And that causes a lot of resentment within us as well, and anger, because we don't know how to just live in the present, because honestly and truly, a lot of the times we're not allowed to, because people call us ungrateful and selfish, because they're like, didn't you just say, you've longed for to get married, or you've longed for this position that you've prayed long and hard for, but now it seems like you're being ungrateful because you're asking for more, and we're allowed to ask for more. And then the other part of it is feeling extremely lonely, even though you're surrounded by a lot of people. And the other day, I was reading an old journal entry, and this was around the time that I got engaged. I was on a work trip, and it was around the time of mine and my husband's anniversary, and he decided to fly in while I was in Austin, and that's where we got engaged. Everything was great. But when my husband left, that's when everything kind of hit me. And in Austin, I have a few friends, and every day after work, I would sit with them. But it got to a point where I felt like I needed solitude, because I could feel that I had a lot of unresolved feelings. For example, here I am. I'm getting engaged and my mom and dad aren't here. And for many years, my mom owned a catering company, and in that catering company, she planned out events. She didn't just cook the food; she literally decked out the whole venue. So I grew up watching her do all of these things, and she'd always talk about how my wedding would be and what she would do, and how it would be so beautiful, and how she would make it this grand occasion. And so being engaged, and even though that was an answered prayer that I seriously prayed so long and hard for, to find a good partner and to finally be getting married, I felt ungrateful, because I didn't have the two most important people in my life that, I felt like I needed them because I didn't want to do it without them. And it's an honest feeling. And I literally suppressed that for so long because I felt so ungrateful. So here I am the other day reading this journal entry and just thinking, wow, I've come a long way. Because I've since then, any emotion that I feel, any time I feel resentment, hurt, pain, or I'm in a situation where I feel like I'm being neglected or someone's being harsh to me, I now can address those concerns and those feelings, pull myself out of the situation and pull myself back to safety, because it really sucks when you're on a downward spiral in life where you're holding on to all these past feelings, all of these past emotions because you don't know how to handle them, how to deal with them. And something I started doing, which was very important, is I really started journaling a lot, and that really helps me. I started just writing out all of my feelings, dumping all of my feelings on the page. I'd also do something like take long walks without my cell phone, without headphones, without music, which is something that I love because you get through the workout much faster. But something I learned is while walking, I would take deep breaths and imagine myself inhaling everything that was hurting me and then just exhaling them. And literally in my mind, I would picture them leaving my body. And it's not that I didn't want to deal with them where, like, for example, go to therapy, talk it out, talk therapy with someone. No, for me, that was cathartic and it was self-preservation for me because holding on to that anger, that guilt, and all of the grief that I was dealing with, I needed to find ways to channel all of that energy because holding on to that was slowly just killing me inside. So it brings me to a scripture that I was reading this week, and I wrote it down because I was like, this is so relatable to what we're talking about right now. And it's Psalms 34:18, and it says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." And like I said, I was crushed in spirit. It's been about almost 7 years since I've lost both of my parents. And every milestone that I get through, I feel like, oh my God, like I'm living this life for no reason. Cause sometimes I feel like I can't do this without them. I can't, get through life without calling my mom and being like, "Hey mom, this happened and I have to tell you." It's such a hard thing for me, but I've since then learned that I'm not lonely. I have amazing people around me. I also have a lot of people around me who understand my situation and love me through it, and I am so blessed for that. But that feeling of loneliness is only because I put in my mind that no one understands what I'm going through because my situation is so unique. So, allowing those people, especially getting a therapist where you can sit down and have someone help you to rationalize how you're feeling, is so important because your feelings are feelings and they're real, and you deserve to work through them, get through all of the things that you're feeling that's prohibiting you from living the life that you deserve to live. Sitting in depression forever is not where it's at. We have to learn how to get out of our rut and allow people to help us through it. So, seeking a therapist, journaling, taking those walks, doing those things that are cathartic to get us through is so important. And this week in the Queen's Library is a book that is so phenomenal. It's by Nedra Glover Tawwab, and it's called Set Boundaries, Find Peace. And she is a therapist and author. And the book is great because it talks about how the feelings of being overwhelmed has a lot to do with saying yes all of the time, not setting boundaries. And a lot of the reason why a lot of us feel so overwhelmed all of the time because of all of the responsibilities that we have going on is because we lack boundaries. We're people pleasers, we're yes men and yes women. We don't know how to set proper boundaries in our lives to be able to say, hey, I don't want to do this. This isn't what I want. We feel it inside, but we're too afraid to say it because we're afraid of losing people. But we don't realize that when we set boundaries, it's so healthy and the right people will stay. You set a boundary and someone doesn't understand it and they leave, they're out of alignment. They're not meant to be in your life, and that is okay. So getting out of that people-pleasing phase is so important, and that's what this book is talking about. It's a great reminder to understand that boundaries are not punishment. It's very healthy for us, especially as women. So this week, I wrote down a few journal prompts for you because I want to introduce journaling to you. If you haven't journaled ever in your life, please start. You're going to find how how it really is good for self-preservation, and then how cathartic it is because you're releasing. So I'm going to read a couple of them. Before we close, I want to tell you just maybe 2 or 3 of them. What have I been feeling but not saying out loud? I want you to write that out today. And then another one. Where in my life do I feel emotionally overextended? I want you to write these out, read them over, be honest and truthful with yourself so that once you read them, you could start setting healthy boundaries and making some changes in your life so that you can be happy. All right. You deserve happiness. That's what life's all about. And don't forget, June 8th, we have a healing circle and it starts at 8 p.m. You can find the tickets on Eventbrite, or you can go to belux.me, BEELUXE.me, and the link is there. You can purchase your ticket there. And ladies, please, 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 please learn to set healthy boundaries so that you can live the beautiful life that you know that you deserve to live. None of us deserve to be yes women and feel like people are walking all over us, all while we have all of this heaviness, all of this sadness that we don't know how to get out of because we don't know how to properly let go. So I love you with all of my heart. And don't forget that this is the show where energy shifts and queens rise. And I'll see you same time, 10 a.m. next week. And happy Wednesday.
Hey Queen, it's your girl Tikea. Welcome to Queen Bee Frequency on Omega Radio, your space for growth and becoming her. Tune in Wednesdays at 10 a.m., where energy shifts and queens rise.
All right, Omega listeners, you were just tuned in to Queen Bee Frequency here today. We trust that you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure you tune back in each and every Wednesday at the same time of 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Omega Radio, once again for Queen Bee Frequency with your host, Tikea Bowers. Stick and stay with us. We have more lined up for you.
It's the #1 radio in the atmosphere, here, there, and everywhere. Omega Radio.
There's a breaking in the spirit. Join us for the breaking, a prophetic all-night prayer and deliverance service at Omega Church from 12 midnight until 7 a.m. Doors open at 11 p.m. for a powerful night of warfare prayer, prophecy, healing, and deliverance. This is Pastor Princess Hubble. I will be there, believing God with you for